The sun rose over the mountains, casting golden light upon the land. The river flowed, steady and endless, nourishing all beings. Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, his presence calm like still waters. His disciples gathered, awaiting his words with open hearts. He gazed at them, eyes filled with wisdom, then spoke. The world consumes without thought, taking more than it gives back. A disciple stepped forward, his voice uncertain. Master, is not energy needed for survival? How can one avoid taking? Buddha nodded, his voice steady. Energy is necessary, yet must be taken with mindfulness. Balance brings harmony, excess leads to suffering. A soft breeze moved through the trees, rustling the leaves like whispered truths. The disciples listened, absorbing his lesson in silence. The fire burns, Buddha continued, but does it not consume the wood? The lamp glows, but does its oil not diminish? Another disciple, Rahula, furrowed his brow, but Master, the world demands progress. How can one create without destruction? Buddha picked up a fallen leaf, turning it in his hands. Creation without destruction is the way of nature's wisdom. He lifted his eyes to the sky, watching the sun. The sun gives light without taking. The river nourishes without draining itself. The earth supports life, yet does not diminish. This is the path of balance. His voice carried like the wind through reeds. Ananda, seated close, spoke softly, but how shall people live without the fire? How shall they warm their homes and move forward? Buddha smiled gently. Not all warmth comes from fire. Not all movement must consume. The wise seek paths that sustain all. The disciples exchanged glances, contemplating his words. The river continued its endless flow, undisturbed by their questions. Buddha placed the leaf upon the earth, to take without harming, to use without destroying. This is the true way of energy. A sparrow landed nearby, pecking at seeds upon the ground. It ate, yet did not harm the earth. The disciples watched. See how the bird takes only what it needs? Buddha asked. It does not hoard, it does not waste. It simply lives. Ananda nodded slowly. Nature holds the answers. Yet people do not listen. They fear scarcity, so they take more than needed. Buddha's voice remained soft, yet firm. Fear blinds the mind. Desire consumes the heart, but mindfulness opens the path to wisdom. Rahula rubbed his hands together. If all took only what was needed, would the world not remain abundant forever? Buddha nodded. Yes. Greed depletes. Mindful use restores. To walk in balance is to honor the earth and all living beings. A breeze carried the scent of blossoms through the grove. The disciples breathed deeply, letting the lesson settle into their minds. Buddha closed his eyes. Energy must not be forced from the world. It must be received with respect. As one receives water, the river glistened in the sunlight, moving gracefully, never ceasing. The disciples watched its rhythm, seeing the wisdom of its flow. Ananda spoke once more. Master, how shall people change their ways? The fire has become their habit, their comfort. Buddha opened his eyes and gestured to the river. Change is like water. It moves slowly, but it shapes all things in time. The disciples sat in silence, pondering his words. The leaves whispered above, the earth steady beneath them. The lesson was clear. The path forward must be mindful. Energy must be taken with gratitude, never excess. The river flows, the sun shines, life continues. The balance remains, if only people learn to follow it. This is the way of harmony, the way of sustainable energy. The disciples bowed their heads, carrying his wisdom in their hearts. And so the lesson spread beyond the grove, beyond the Bodhi tree. The world listened, and the way was shown. Another day, another lesson beneath the Bodhi tree. The wind carried the scent of fresh earth, whispering through the leaves above. Buddha sat in stillness, his presence calming the restless minds of his disciples. They gathered, waiting for his words like parched soil for rain. He looked upon them with gentle eyes and spoke. The wind moves, yet does not harm. The river flows, yet does not deplete. A disciple, Rahula, furrowed his brow. Master, people take from the earth without giving back. How can energy be found without destruction? Buddha lifted his hand, palm facing the sky. See how the air moves without taking form. It gives breath without demanding anything. The disciples listened, their minds tracing his words like water following the river's bends. The wind continued its song through the grove. Ananda stepped forward, voice soft. Master, what shall replace fire? People burn trees, coal, and oil. Can they walk another path? Buddha closed his eyes, sensing the weight of their questions. The path exists, yet few walk it. The wise listen to nature's way. He opened his eyes and pointed toward the trees swaying gently. The wind moves the branches, yet does not break them. It sustains life. Rahula frowned. But, Master, wind is fleeting. Fire is constant. How can people embrace something unseen? Uncertain? Buddha smiled, his gaze unwavering. The unseen carries great power. The river moves, though none see its source. The wind blows, though none grasp it. The disciples exchanged glances, absorbing his words. The world spoke in whispers through nature. Yet people only listen to their own desires. Ananda spoke again. Master, if fire brings harm, then what shall replace it? How shall people warm their homes? Cook their food? Buddha plucked a leaf from the ground and held it lightly. Energy flows where harmony exists. The wise seek the path of renewal. Rahula sighed, but people fear change. They cling to what they know, even when it harms them. Buddha's voice remained steady. Fear binds the mind. Clinging to the past prevents movement. The river does not refuse to flow forward. A gust of wind rustled the trees, carrying the lesson deeper into their hearts. The disciples watched the movement, understanding more with each breath. Ananda asked, Master, shall energy come only from wind and water? Must we abandon what we have built? Buddha shook his head. Abandonment is not the answer. Balance must be found. The earth offers solutions, yet people must listen. Rahula sighed. If nature is abundant, then why do people suffer? Why do they take more than needed? Buddha reached for a handful of soil and let it fall through his fingers. Greed blinds the heart. Desire consumes the soul. Balance restores all. The disciples sat quietly, contemplating his words. The wind touched their skin, invisible yet present, carrying the wisdom of the earth. Buddha continued, the bird does not hoard seeds beyond its hunger. The fish does not drink all the water. Balance is nature's way. Ananda nodded slowly. To take only what is needed. To give as much as we receive. This is the way forward? Buddha smiled. Yes. The energy that does not harm. The power that does not consume. These are the sources that sustain without depletion. The disciples breathed deeply, feeling the truth settle within them. The trees swayed. The river flowed. The wind carried forth its teachings. Buddha gestured toward the horizon. Progress moves like the river, slow yet powerful. Shape it with wisdom, and it will nourish instead of destroy. Rahula frowned. But, Master, will people change? Will they listen? Buddha watched the wind ripple through the trees. Change begins in the heart. One step forward is enough to shift the path. The disciples sat in thought, listening to the world around them. The wind hummed. The river whispered. The earth remained steady beneath them. Buddha's lesson echoed beyond the grove, beyond the Bodhi tree, beyond the land itself. The world heard his voice and knew the way. Another day, another lesson beneath the Bodhi tree. The river flowed gently, reflecting the golden light of dawn upon its surface. Buddha sat in stillness. His disciples gathered around, their eyes filled with curiosity. They waited for his words, eager for wisdom. He gazed at the earth before him and spoke. The path we walk must leave no scars. This is the way of balance. Ananda leaned forward, his voice thoughtful. Master, how can one take without leaving harm? The world demands, yet nature suffers. Buddha picked up a handful of soil and let it fall softly. See how the earth receives without pain. Energy must do the same. Rahula furrowed his brow. Master, people build cities, roads, machines. They change the land. How can they take without harming? Buddha looked toward the flowing river. The river moves, yet does not destroy. The wind carries, yet does not deplete. Learn from them. The disciples listened, their minds tracing his words like the ripples upon water. The trees whispered as the breeze moved through their branches. Ananda asked, must people abandon their ways to follow this path? His voice carried both doubt and hope. Buddha smiled gently. Abandonment is not necessary. Understanding is. Build with respect. Use with care. Seek energy that replenishes instead of consuming. Rahula sighed. But, Master, people take more than they need. Their hunger grows. They desire more than nature can give. Buddha held up a fallen leaf, turning it between his fingers. Greed blinds the heart. Desire binds the soul. Mindfulness restores balance. The disciples watched the leaf flutter as he released it. It landed upon the earth without harm, without demand, returning to nature's cycle. Ananda spoke again. Master, what energy leaves no scar? Fire destroys. Water dries. The land depletes. What shall people turn to? Buddha gestured toward the sky. Light remains. The sun gives endlessly, yet does not diminish. The wind moves, yet does not steal from the earth. Rahula frowned. But, Master, how shall people harness such forces? They do not burn like fire. They do not hold form. Buddha closed his eyes, his voice steady. Fire consumes, yet people cling to it. They fear change, but nature offers paths without destruction. The disciples exchanged glances, feeling the weight of his words. The wind continued its silent journey. The river flowed undisturbed. Buddha lifted his hand toward the horizon. Energy must serve all, not harm. It must give, not take. This is the way forward. Ananda nodded slowly. Then, people must listen to the world, not command it. They must walk lightly, taking only what is given. Buddha smiled. Yes, the tree grows because the earth nurtures it. The river moves because the sky feeds it. Balance sustains life. Rahula sighed. But will people change? Master, will they listen? His voice carried doubt, wrapped in longing for wisdom. Buddha's gaze softened. Change begins in the heart. One step upon the right path shapes the journey ahead. The world must awaken. The disciples sat quietly, letting his words settle within them. The earth remained beneath them, steady, unwavering, waiting for humanity's understanding. Buddha spoke once more. The energy that does not wound. The power that does not fade. This is the way of wisdom. The wind carried his voice beyond the grove, beyond the Bodhi tree, beyond the riverbanks. The lesson spread, and the world listened. If you rest, let it be complete. The flame teaches wisdom, Buddha continued. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.